ministry here on YouTube. It is great to be with you again once more. I'd also like to take the time to say hello to my Facebook friends, and for those of you, Rose, Devlin, Heather, Jenna, Erin, for those of you guys who continue to assist in getting this word out by reposting these messages each week, I just want to express my gratitude for you at this point. Well, today we're going to be talking about signs and those who seek them. And so we're going to be going to the book of Matthew, as the Messiah was speaking to the scribes and the Pharisees. And then we're going to go over to the book of Judges, looking at Gideon and the signs that he had asked, the fleeces that he had laid out before Yahuwah, as he sought confirmation as to whether or not this was truly Yah that was speaking to him. And so without further ado, let us now go to St. Matthew chapter 12. And we're going to begin in verse 34. And from time to time I'll interrupt the reading to shed some light on the verses as we go along. Matthew 12:34 reads, O generation of vipers, how can ye, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speak. Okay, and so here Yahushua is saying to them, you generation of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? Because out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speak. These people were kidding themselves into thinking that they were speaking profound things. They were speaking in regards to the word of Yah. Yet they were contradicting his word because they had an internal problem. Their hearts were wicked. Their heart went contrary to the truth. And so Yahushua asked them, how can you, being evil, speak good things? Because out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speak. You see, you can't have a wicked heart and think that you're speaking righteous things, thinking that you're speaking things that's going to bless another or bless the kingdom. Such are they who follow after idolatry in the form of Christianity. You may go around feeding the hungry, clothing the homeless, and whatever else good deeds you do, but on the inside your heart is wicked. You follow after idolatry and paganism and refuse to repent of it. Let us continue. It says, a good man out of the good treasure of the heart bringeth forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure bringeth forth evil things. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. And so keep this in mind. For those of you who call yourselves, for those of you Christians who think that it's okay to go around cussing and swearing and using and taking the name of Yah or making his name vain, the scriptures tells us here in verse 36 that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment. Every idle word you speak will be judged in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Therefore, if your words are pure, you will be justified. If your words are foul, if your words are lies, you will be condemned. Then certain of the scribes and the Pharisees, verse 38, answered, saying, Master, we would see a sign from thee. Okay, so now we're getting to the point. The scribes and the Pharisees said, Master, we would see a sign from thee. Now, this is the false allegiance. You see, they hated Yahushua. They did not regard him as the Christ, the Messiah. But yet, in their false reverence, they say, Master. There are many today who disregard Yahushua, because the scripture tells us that those who love him keeps his commandments. Yet they preach against his commandments, but they call him Master. That is false reverence. And so, here are the scribes and the Pharisees. They said, Master, we would that you would show us a sign. Okay, they required a sign from him. Verse 39, but he answered and said unto them, An evil and an adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall be no sign given to it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. Now this is the sign of Jonas. For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, King James here says the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Now, this verse here, I know Easter has passed, and Easter is nothing more than the pagan worship of the fertility, bare-breasted fertility goddess Ashtaroth, who, by the way, Solomon introduced to Israel, where we see in 1 Kings chapter 11, in verse 32 or 33. Worship of Ashtaroth goes back far beyond Solomon's time. It actually goes back to the Egyptian dynasty. Then it was adopted by the Babylonians. And as Israel was taken into captivity into Babylon, Judah, they also adopted that worship. And not only that, Solomon, before them even going into captivity, because of his many strange wives, he had already brought that worship to Israel. And so that was the reason why Yah decided that he would now split the nation of Israel, which he did with Rehoboam and Jeroboam. But that is a study that we'll get into at another time. However, we're talking here about Easter a little bit. This is not the point of my conversation today. But since I'm on this verse, I thought it's important that I point this out. You see, you've been taught by pagan Christianity, and what Christianity is. Christianity is not a biblical religion. It was not named by Yah. It was not given by Yah. It was invented by the Roman Catholic Church. And really, only the name was invented. The practices of Christianity goes back to the time of Egypt, to the kings of Egypt, as they worship the sun god, the queen and the queen of heaven, Ra, Ashtaroth, Chemosh, the Moabitess god, and all these other gods. And so what Rome did, Rome simply adopted the adulterous worship of these people and decided to change the name to Christianity. There's no different than when people came here to America, and even in Jamaica, where I'm from. In Jamaica, there were Arawak Indians already living there, but Columbus came and he stuck a flag in the ground and said that he discovered Jamaica. They came to America, and the Indians were already here, just like they were in Jamaica, but yet they said, we discovered America. And they called it New World. Well, the world, it's not new because it was already inhabited. They did not discover it because it was already inhabited. Nothing racist in what I'm saying. I'm just stating the truth. Now, so even as we have been taught those things, that Yahushua died on Friday, and according to Christianity, he rose on Sunday. It's also important to note that the Bible does not teach that he rose on Sunday. What the scriptures teach is that Miriam, and the other women went to the tomb early on the first day of the week, which would be Sunday morning. But when they got there, he was already risen. The angel greeted them and asked, "Why do you search for the living among the dead?" Now, the fact that they got there on Sunday morning does not imply in itself that Yahushua rose on Sunday morning. Nevertheless, let's see if it's at all possible that he could have risen on Sunday morning. Well, according to Christianity's teaching, Yahushua died on Friday, was buried Friday evening, and then he rose on Sunday. Well, I'm not any great mathematician, but according to this verse, it says that the only sign that they would receive was the sign of Jonah. That's what Yahushua told them as these people asked for a sign in verse 39. Now in verse 40, he explains to us what the sign of Jonah actually is. He says, "For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." And so what the scripture tells us here is that Yahushua would be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. In other words, Jonah, when he was thrown overboard in response to him being disobedient to Yahweh, and he was swallowed up by a great fish, he was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the fish. That was symbolic of the death, burial, and resurrection of our Messiah, Yahushua HaMashiach. And so, Yahushua said, the only sign you will receive is the fulfillment of the prophecy that Jonah's time spent in the belly of the great fish entailed. I will be in the belly of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. Now, again, I stated, I'm not any great mathematician, but from Friday night to early Sunday morning is simply not 3 days and 3 nights. That's not the point of my study today. At some point, we'll get into this study in more details. I've written different articles on Facebook concerning Easter and many different things, and so I'd encourage you, even if you're on Facebook, to go and look at some of the archives of the things that I've written on different topics. I'm sure that it will be a blessing to your soul. And so in verse 41, it says, "The men of Nineveh shall rise in judgment with this generation and shall condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonas, and behold, a greater than Jonas is here." And so what Yahushua was saying to the people of his day was that even the wicked people of Nineveh, when Jonah preached, they repented. Yet a greater than Jonah is here, and you have no interest in repenting. Now the question is, why did they ask for a sign? Now before I answer that question, I'd like to take you over to the book of Judges, where we see Gideon also asked for a sign, but the response to his request was different than the response to these people's request. And after we look at Judges, we're going to discuss why it is that the response was different when both people asked for a fleece or a sign. So let's go now to the book of Judges, chapter 6. And I'm going to begin reading at verse 7.